Hi there. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I'm the host of this show. So, we're here to do a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. You're going to see these all over the place now. Many of the channels who do the same thing as what I'm doing here have already done tributes to him. I found out while I was at work, I sometimes listen to Fox News, or I might listen to Triumph News or one of the news stations. But anyways, I turned it on and they were playing a Crazy Train, and I said to myself, "Why are they playing Crazy Train on this channel?" And but I had have that moment where dread overcomes you a little bit. I said, "Oh my God, something's happened to Ozzy." Right? Sure enough, as soon as they were finished, they came on. They were talking about Randy Rhoads, and then they started talking about Ozzy passing, and I just felt this cold shot go through me. Like just shock. Like, I can't believe it. Like, he just did this back to the beginning concert, like only a couple weeks ago. I think it was like 17 days or something ago, and now he's gone just like that. Well, I guess it wasn't just like that. He'd been sick for a while. I think it's like 5 years or so. He's been battling Parkinson's disease, and of course, with Parkinson's disease, as I lost probably one of my closest friends from that disease, I know that it expands into everything. So, in some ways, I think it was good that he did that final concert, because you could see it in his face that he was just excited to be there and do something. Because when you're when you have that kind of ailment going on, things are not always pleasurable at all, right? So to be able to do something that means something to you is really a gift, I think. So my history with Ozzy goes back probably to 1973, when my friend and me were playing in his bedroom, and he had gotten that record, that really cheesy, cheap record player, and we had this K-Tel album, Purple album, I think it was, of hard rock songs of the 1970s. I think it was. It was called that. And there was a song on there by Black Sabbath called Paranoid. And I remember hearing it and thinking, wow, this is different. It's not like anything I've ever heard before. And when you fast forward maybe half a dozen years or more, and now I'm starting to listen to rock music and getting into other bands. I've morphed out of my Kiss phase, and I'm now morphing into other bands. And one of the first of those bands was Black Sabbath. They were one of the first bands that I got into. It started with Heaven and Hell and Ronnie James Dio. But of course, as soon as I got into that, I went back and started collecting all of the earlier albums, which all featured Ozzy on vocals. And the thing about Ozzy's voice, and I love Dio, he's one of my favorite singers of all time, but Ozzy's voice is very distinctive, and I always associate it with Black Sabbath, because almost all of their great stuff came with him as their vocalist. And you know, I was lucky that when that first album, his first solo album, came out, the Blizzard of Oz, I was at the gym when I heard the first time I heard I Don't Know on there, and I thought I gotta have that, and I went right down to Sam the Record Man right after I was finished my workout. I biked all the way down to Sam the Record Man and bought that album and played it to death. And then when the subsequent Diary of a Madman came out, bought that too. And at the same time, me and my best friend went to see Ozzy at the Gardens in Toronto when the Gardens actually existed. And that's where we saw. That's my one and only time seeing Ozzy live. And he was everything you would wish him to be. He's all over the stage. He's doing crazy stuff. He's singing great stuff. The concert was fantastic. And, we all knew he was a bit of a madman, but we loved that part about him. He was alive, fully alive. And so then, I followed him for the next album to Bark at the Moon, and Randy Rhoads died, and that was kind of a devastating blow to us all. And then I found the music changed a bit, and maybe it only changed for that one album. I don't know. It seemed less real to me. I don't know if it was less real. I felt there was it felt like it was more synthetic, so I stopped listening to it. And I actually went through that period of time where I was kind of getting away from a lot of the earlier music. And I never really kind of went back to Ozzy till last year when I started collecting. Well, 3 or 4 years I started collecting CDs, but I was somewhere in a store and there was an Ozzy Osbourne album, and I seen it. And I had bought another one previously, but I didn't really listen to it too much. But this one, I took it home, I played it, I thought, wow, this is pretty solid stuff. Black Rain was the album. And I thought, yeah, I think maybe it's time to give his discography a little bit more of attention than I have been giving it. And so then I got 13, and I thought, this is great. I was hoping they might do another album. I really was. I know it had been 12 years since 13 came out, which I thought was such a great album, very similar to their debut album in a lot of ways, except for clearer sounding, and the songs were really good. Even the songs on that second disc they had, I thought were just as good as the ones on the first disc. So I was kind of hoping, well, maybe they're going to do this Back to the Beginning concert. Maybe they'll decide just to put out an album with, so that all four of them, Bill wasn't on the 13, can all get together and play again. But not to be now, and it's kind of sad. But, Ozzy's had a huge impact. I know he did do they had the Osbournes, which was a reality show. I was never really into those reality shows, and I never really followed it, so I can't say much about it. But he was always willing to be out there in the front, and even sometimes controversial, saying, I have an old cassette that was a recording cassette, and I used to record stuff off of the radio, usually when they would do these little 1-minute interviews on Q107, and they did this one from him about Black Sabbath, about Ronnie singing for Sabbath and stuff, and he's always so outspoken and just spoke his mind. The other thing that used to amaze me the most about him is that how can anybody sing so great and everything sounds so great and you could understand everything he's saying, and then when he was talking you could understand nothing he said. I never understood that. And I know this isn't really something we should be laughing or joking about, but I think Ozzy would be laughing and joking about it. That's the way he was. He was a wildly funny individual. I've seen him in a couple of interview shows. I think he did one with David Letterman. I'm not sure if it was David Letterman. I think it was. And he's just crazy as hell. But fantastic singer. I love his stuff. That Sabbath stuff is, among the very best rock albums ever released. Sabbath has been, since that time when, in 1980, when I started collecting their stuff, they've been one of my elite group of bands since that time, over 40 years now, 45 years now, and Ozzy stuff is just good. And, he got nominated and it was in the Hall of Fame for both Sabbath and himself. I don't think there's many people that have that distinction, but he's definitely one of them. So I feel sad that he's gone, but he left a wealth of wonderful stuff for us to go and listen to, and I'll probably do that after I'm done all this. Anyways, my hat's off, as you see, to Ozzy Osbourne. I'm sorry if it's blinding you a little bit. It's not meant to. Rest in peace, brother. You gave us a world of fantastic stuff, and you'll leave a huge legacy and a hole too for that won't be able to be replaced or filled. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good evening. Please, if, as Brendan Snyder said, go out there and listen to your Ozzy solo stuff and your Black Sabbath stuff, and remember Ozzy with fondness. So take care and have yourself a good one. Goodbye from Prog Monster.